Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to do The Day the Sun Stood Still. It's in Joshua 10. So, a little background, the Israelites have come into the Promised Land. They've crossed the Jordan. They've taken over Jericho. They've taken over a city called Ai. And then they made an alliance with the city of Gibeon, who was a large city. So, what happens is at the beginning, the king of Jerusalem, of the city of Jerusalem. It wasn't part of Israel as a nation to be reckoned with yet. He is getting nervous about this because he's like, okay, Joshua and the Israelites are coming and they're either destroying cities or making alliances with cities. And he's like, we're going to lose our power in the region and he's probably going to come for us next. So he's an Amorite and he contacts four other Amorite kings. And he's like, look, this is what's going on. So what we should do is we should attack the Gibeonites to to punish them and also make an example of them, of what happens to people and cities who become allies with Joshua instead of staying faithful to the kings that are already in the land. And they're like, yeah, that's a good idea. So the Gibeonites hear about this. They're like, hey, they tell Joshua, they send a message. They're like, so we're about to be attacked. You need to come and help us because these guys are joining forces and they're going to attack our city, and we've just made an alliance with you, so you have to protect us. And Joshua's like, yeah, you're right. So it says that he marched, well, not just him, he and the army, they marched all night. And then since they marched all night, and then they met the five kings, and they took them by surprise because they weren't expecting an army to march all night and then just jump into battle. And God had told Joshua, "Don't be afraid. I'm going to give you the battle. Nobody's going to be able to stand against you." So it says that they jumped straight into the battle, and they did. They started like totally winning and killing everybody. So these five kings and their army, they start running away. And so Joshua and his army start pursuing them, and they're running after him. And so and then it says that along the way, that God started throwing down these huge hailstone rocks, like huge, big as rocks, that when they hit them, that it would actually kill them. And it said that the hailstones actually killed more men than the Israelites did. So God's like up there, like doing like over flyovers on there before they even had helicopters or exact bombing, and on these guys. But so they're chasing them and they're killing them, but Joshua wants to wipe these guys out. He doesn't want them to be able to retreat and then, rejoin their forces and then fight again. So he stops and he prays. He's like, God, can you make the sun stand still? That way we can just win this whole entire battle and not give them time to up their forces again. And so the Bible says that God heard Joshua, and it was at midday, and he made the sun stand still as if it was midday until Joshua was done. So, pretty cool story, right? Um, there, I know there are many days that I need more hours in my day, right? So, from a historical point of view, we see that once again that in the region there were like little minor kings, kings of cities, and then the way that it's set up in the Hebrew language is they're the cities and then the lands that are next to the cities, like the lands that belong to the city. Um, and then we also see like Joshua is a leader, but he's not considered a king. And so that again shows us that there are different ways that the governments are set up, and that these tribes or cities are led governmentally. But it also teaches us about alliances, right? So that, and that's another way to show that they were probably petty kings, because they would make alliances with each other and then like gang up on one guy who wasn't part of their alliance, or one guy's land that they wanted to do. I mean, we do that in big countries too, but that's how they would do their warfare on that. They wouldn't usually go at it alone, like one city against another city. They would make sure they had a whole alliance first on that. I don't know if I could technically say historically, but throughout literature, there are many legends and myths about the day the sun stood still or extended days. So we have two instances in Chinese writing about a legend of a long day. The Incas and the Aztecs also have a record of a long day. The Babylonians and the Persians have a day that was miraculously extended. Herodotus, he says that he said that when he was in Egypt, the priest showed him in the temple ancient writings that showed a day that was twice its normal length on that. And then Ovid, the poet, he creates, or he talks about a myth. It was his original myth about Phaeton's chariot, and that a day was lost, and that the earth was in danger of overheating because the sun was so hot, right? And the day was lost. The reason that this still applies is because Phaeton is a Canaanite prince also, or at least the name of a Canaanite prince, and which would have been the time frame of Joshua. And then also the story originated with the Phoenicians, which also could be argued to be the time frame of Joshua. And then biblically, what we learn about this is that God's totally got your back on that, right? He doesn't just tell you to go into battle and good luck. He gives you the tools and the weapons that you need on that. And he fights not just with you, or for you, he fights with you also. Like, I mean, it says that he killed more of the bad guys than the Israelites did. And then also the cool thing on that is the Gibeonites more than likely weren't worshiping the God of Joshua and the Israelites, right? And so, but since they aligned themselves with Joshua, and Joshua was their protector, like it created this umbrella over them. And so they also were receiving God's protection by proxy on that. And then the other cool thing is we see that God, of course, has control over nature and the solar systems, but God is not limited by time. I mean, didn't bug him at all to stop the day for him. It didn't mess him up. It did nothing on that. So, and you don't read in these legends about crops failing or tides being all messed up, anything like that. There's just, anyways, so that's all I have. Any questions, comments, ideas? Feel free to post them in the bottom in the comments section, like always. All right, have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. See ya.